Hi again, everybody. Well, I'm done with finals, and the new quarter starts on Monday, so not much time to rest. But I will upload some videos this week that feature, hopefully, the rest of the footage that we took while we were up in Washington, D.C. I've got some interesting stuff that I want to weave the footage in with, so watch for that. Today, I want to talk about something. It's no secret that Mitt Romney has been dogged with the, politically, let's say, problematic moniker of being a flip-flopper. He's, changed his position on a few things, but really there's a, I guess he's gotten really, I think, an undeserved reputation as someone who changes positions frequently depending on, the political winds, and I really don't think there's any basis in that. And I wanted to well, take a look.
From gay rights to gun control, Mitt Romney has flip-flopped on so many issues, even he can't keep his position straight.
Here's a man who doesn't know who he is. He was for gay marriage when he was governor. Now he's against it. He was for abortion when he was governor. Now he's against it. He was, what are some of the other things? Oh, health care. We modeled our bill to a large degree about what he did in Massachusetts. Now he's trying to run from that.
Sadly, it's not just the left that is propagating this meme.
What would you ask Romney? What would be your first question to Romney?
How come you flip-flopped on every single campaign, every single debate topic? Abortion, immigration, cap and trade, taxes, all of them. How come you flip?
Of course, some of his rivals for the Republican nomination for president have been leveling the same attacks against him. But today I want to focus on something. These attacks on Mitt Romney are sometimes they just get really ridiculous. I want to show you something that I saw last week? It was last month on Hardball with Chris Matthews. Take a look at this.
How many sides can Mitt Romney take on one issue? Well, if it's about a piece of anti-union legislation out in Ohio that's up for repeal, 3.
Wow, 3. Okay, that's a lot of different positions. All right, Chris, let's see your evidence.
First, Romney said he supported the anti-union bill. In a Facebook post back in June, Romney referred to the legislation saying, quote, "I stand with John R. Kasich and Ohio's leaders as they take on this important fight to get control of government spending. Please visit www.betterohio.org for more information." Well, then yesterday, perhaps after learning that polls are running heavily against the bill, Romney had this to say.
I'm not speaking about the particular ballot issues. Those are up to the people of Ohio, but I certainly support the effort of the governor to rein in the scale of government. I'm not terribly familiar with the two ballot initiatives, but I'm certainly supportive of the Republican Party's effort here.
I noticed he looked over to the other guy for help.
Stop right there. That's almost exactly the same thing. That sounds like the same position. That's not a change in position. And when he's saying, "I stand with John R. Kasich and Ohio's leaders as they fight this important battle to take on government spending," or whatever, and then in the next one he's saying, "I strongly support the efforts of the governor and Ohio Republicans to scale back the size of government." So because he's using different terms to refer to the same thing, somehow that's a change in position? I don't think so. But all right, so far we've seen 2 video clips and no change in Romney's position. Let's see what else you got.
So now he's steering clear, right, until today, that is.
I fully support
Governor Kasich's, I think it's called Question 2 in Ohio. Fully support that. What I was referring to is I know there are other ballot questions there in Ohio, and I wasn't taking a position on those. One of them, for instance, relates to health care and mandates. With regards to Question 2, which is the collective bargaining question, I am 110% behind Governor Kasich and in support of that question.
Okay, that just is a reiteration of the sentiment he expressed in the first two. The only thing different about that is there he's actually voicing support for the specific ballot initiatives, something, or the question 2, that one. And again, he declined to take a position on the other initiatives, which is consistent with what he said in the second clip. So you can see how this is getting ridiculous. And Matthews isn't alone in trying to make out, some, or basically just completely manufacture a flip-flop where one clearly does not exist. But I just used that as an example. And, of course, this isn't the only time the left has tried to make Mitt Romney out to be a flip-flopper with when the evidence they use to try and show that he's a flip-flopper itself doesn't really indicate anything. Take a look at this boneheaded ad put out by the DNC.
Was able to put in place a plan that helped get health insurance premiums down and gets all of our citizens insured. If we can do that nationally, we help not only Michigan and the auto industry, but the entire nation.
One thing I'd never do would be impose a state's plan on the entire nation. That makes no sense. I'll repeal Obamacare.
Okay, now in this case, sounds like what he's saying. I don't really think those two those two positions are inconsistent. I mean, he's saying in the first clip where he was being interviewed by John Roberts, I think it was, talking about put in place a plan that would lower costs and something else. And he says if we could do that nationally, then we help the entire nation. And so it's really a question of if we can do that nationally, then we help the entire nation. What is the that in that? It sounds like he's saying if we can lower costs and increase competition, then that will help the entire nation. So to say he wouldn't enforce a specific plan that he imposed in Massachusetts on the entire country, which is just one way of achieving those goals, I don't think is inconsistent with that. I mean, in fact, it isn't inconsistent. I don't know why I say I think. I think any objectively reasonable person would see that that's just, hooey to try and categorize that as a flip-flop. I mean, what kind of idiot would even be impressed with a video like that?
Killer.
I should have known. Well, I'm through with clips from MSNBC. No, wait, I have one more. These ridiculous attacks on Mitt Romney, if you thought those were ridiculous, then I want to show you this quick clip from, what was it? The Ed Show. Get a load of this.
Wall Street donors gave Romney 5 times as much campaign money as President Obama since this spring.
Thanks for sharing that, Ed. Now let's hear some objectively verifiable facts from a real journalist.
And yet Barack Obama in 2008, according to the Sunlight Foundation, raked in more campaign cash from Wall Street than any politician of the last 20 years, including more than $1 million from Goldman Sachs and its various arms.
Well, I think that that's pretty enlightening. But, as Ed Schultz says,
Wall Streeters know a guy who looks out for them when they see one.
Well, Ed, that may be the first time I've agreed with you. All right, folks, you know the drill. Check out my website, check out my blog, and as always, Chris Matthews, don't mess with the right-wing genius.